Hello students, how are you all? Today I am going to start a new chapter, the D and F block elements. This chapter has 8 marks weightage in your QC examination. You will get 8 marks from this chapter. From this 8 marks, you will get 1 2-mark question and you will get 2 3-mark questions. One question carries 2 marks, 2 questions, each question carries 3 marks. The total weightage from this chapter is 8 marks. Now let's look into what are the D and F block elements. First we will discuss what are the D block elements. Next we will discuss what are the F block elements. So first we will discuss what are the D block elements. The D block elements are defined as the elements in which last electron enters into d orbital of penultimate shell are called D block elements. The D block elements are defined as the elements in which last electron, nothing but a differentiating electron, enter into d orbital of penultimate shell, nothing but n-1 d orbital, are called as D block elements. First, let us write the definition. The elements in which last electron enters into d orbital of penultimate shell, nothing but n-1 d, that means n-1 d orbital are called D block elements. So this is the definition of D block elements. So first we need to understand what is n-1 d orbital or n-1 d subshell. So I'm taking this is an atom, nucleus, and this is the first shell, this is the second shell, this is the third shell, this is the fourth shell, remaining this is the fifth shell. That will contain 5 shells. The last shell, this shell is called as ultimate shell. Last shell is called as ultimate shell. The last shell is called as ultimate shell. The shell just before the ultimate shell is called as penultimate shell. The shell just before the penultimate shell are called as anti-penultimate shell. The shell just before the anti-penultimate shell are called as core shell. Remaining all shells are core shells. The point is in D block elements, last electron enter into d orbital of penultimate shell. In these elements, last electron enter into d orbital of this penultimate shell are called as D block elements. Next, the elements from group third group to group 12th group. The elements from third group to 12th group in the periodic table belongs to the D block. The elements from third group. This is the third group, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11, and this is the 12th. The elements from third group to 12th group in a periodic table belongs to the D block. Now let's look at what are the elements present in the D block. So first one I am taking in the form of a periods. This is the scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. So I wrote the scandium to zinc. Now I will write the elements from group wise. So scandium, in this group scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium. So scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium belongs to the third group. The element present in the fourth group is titanium, zirconium, hafnium, and rutherfordium. Titanium, zirconium, hafnium, rutherfordium belongs to the fourth group. Element present in the fifth group is vanadium, niobium, tantalum, and dubnium. So these are the elements belongs to the fifth group. Element present in the sixth group is chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, sciobarium. These are elements present in the sixth. Element in the seventh group is manganese, technetium, rhenium, and thorium. Next element in the eighth group is iron, ruthenium, osmium, calcium. And element present in the ninth group rhodium, iridium, and magnesium. The element present in that 10th group: nickel, palladium, platinum, drumstitium, DS. Next, the element present in the 11th group: copper, silver, gold, and next one is rhodium. Copper, silver, gold, rhodium belongs to the 11th group. And element belongs to 12th group is zinc, cadmium, mercury, copernicium. So these are the elements present in the 12th group. So all these are the D block elements. So D block elements from group 3rd group to 12th group in a periodic table. Element from 3rd group to 12th group in a periodic table belongs to the D block. And these elements are also called as transition elements. So D block elements are also called as transition elements because these elements are placed between the S block and the P block. Here I wrote the 3rd group. So before the 3rd we have 1st group and 2nd group. 1st group and 2nd group belongs to the S block. And I wrote here is 12th group. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Up to 18 they belongs to the P block. So D block belongs up to 12th group. Only 12th onwards we have P block. And here I wrote only 3rd group. Before the 3rd group we have 1st and 2nd group. So 1st and 2nd group belongs to the S block. 13 to 18 belongs to the P block. So the D block elements, these elements are placed between a S block and a P block. So that these elements are also called as transition elements. Transition elements. The transition elements is defined as the elements which has incompletely filled d orbitals in its ground state or any one its oxidation state is called as transition elements. So what is a transition element? Let's understand by taking an example. I'm taking an example scandium. The scandium electron configuration is argon 3d1 4s2, argon 3d10 4s2. So if you look at this d orbital, it has incompletely filled d orbital. So the scandium has incompletely filled d orbital. It is a transition element. So all these D block elements are not a transition element. Some exceptions is there. So zinc, cadmium, mercury. The zinc, cadmium, mercury are a D block elements but not transition elements. Why the zinc, cadmium, mercury is not a transition element even though they are the D block elements? So let us understand by taking its electron configuration. Zinc electron configuration is argon 3d10 4s2. So look at this electron configuration of zinc. In its electron configuration, it has completely filled electron configuration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So it has completely filled D configuration and the 4s orbital is completely filled. So he is completely filled D orbital. So due to presence of completely filled orbital, it is not a transition element. Transition element is defined as the element which has a incompletely filled d orbital in its ground state or any one its oxidation state. In its ground state, it has completely filled electronic configuration. It is all the d orbitals are completely filled. So it is a completely filled electron configuration. If you take its oxidation state, zinc in the form of Zn plus, electron configuration is argon 3d10 4s0. First we have to remove the electrons from the 4s orbital because this is the outermost energy level and this is the penultimate shell. What is my pointing is this is nucleus 1, 2, 3, 4 shells is the 4s. Here is the 2 electrons is there. The d orbital. This is the last shell. N is equal to 4, N is equal to 3, N is equal to N is equal to 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last shell. So first we have to remove the electron from the 4s orbital. Then we have to remove the electron from the 3d orbital. So that I made 4s is 0, but not 3d. So first we have to remove electron from the 4s orbital because this is the outermost energy level. First we have to remove electron from outermost energy level. So 3d10 4s0. Removing of 2 electrons in Zn plus 2 oxidation state. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and S orbital is 0. Look at in its oxidation state, it is oxidation state of zinc. This is the ground state. In ground state, even in oxidation state, it do not have any, it have completely filled d orbital. So completely filled d orbital. So due to presence of completely filled d orbital, this zinc is not a transition element, but it is a d block element. Even cadmium, mercury also are the d block elements, but not transition elements. The transition element is defined as any element which has a incompletely filled d orbital in its ground state or in its any one oxidation state is called as a transition elements. Let us write the definition of transition elements. The elements which has incompletely filled d orbitals in its ground state or any one its oxidation state, oxidation state are called transition elements. We got one doubt here. What is the doubt is even copper, silver, gold have D10 configuration. Why these elements are transition elements? Even like zinc, copper also has a D10 configuration. Even the copper has D10 configuration. It is not a non-transition. It is a transition element, a D block element as well as transition element. Not like zinc. Zinc is a D block element but not a transition element. So what is the reason behind it? Let us understand by taking example of I am taking copper. Copper electron configuration is argon 3d10 4s1. 3d10 4s1. So it has a D10 configuration. So D10 configuration, it is not, if D10 configuration is there, the element is not considered a transition element. D10 configuration is the element is not considered a transition element. But if we take its oxidation state, any one its oxidation state, if it has a D10, do not have D10 configuration, then the element is considered as a transition element. I am taking copper in the form of copper plus 2. Copper plus 2, if you take argon 3d, 2 electrons we have to remove, this will be 3d9 4s0. The configuration will become 3d9. So 3d9 since it has the incompletely filled d orbital. Look at this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So look at this configuration. Only one electron is there. So it has incompletely filled d orbital. So copper plus 2 has incompletely filled d orbital, so that it is a transition element. In ground state, even if it has D10 configuration, in its any one oxidation state, it has a incompletely filled d orbital, so that it is a transition element. Even you can take a silver Ag plus. Ag has a D10 configuration. If you take Ag plus 2, Ag in the form of plus 2 oxidation state, Ag in the form of plus 2 like copper, it has a D9 configuration. So that the presence of incompletely filled electron configuration, the copper, silver, gold are transition elements. I think that what is the difference between the transition element and d block element? Transition element in the sense transition element and non-transition element. Transition element sense it must have a incompletely filled d orbital in its ground state or any one of its oxidation state. So these elements we have to consider the transition element. One generalized statement I will give. All d block elements are not a transition elements, but all transition elements are d block elements. All transition elements, if you take anything, all these are transition elements except zinc, cadmium, mercury. Except these elements, all the elements are transition elements. All these transition elements belongs to the d block only. But all d block elements are not transition elements. Zinc, cadmium, mercury are d block elements, but not transition elements. What is the statement is all d block elements are not a transition elements, but all transition elements are d block elements. Example, zinc, cadmium, mercury are d block elements, but not a transition elements. So these are the introduction related to the d block elements. Next, electronic configuration of d block elements. The general electronic configuration of d block elements is n-1 d 1 to 10 electrons, ns 1 to 2 electrons. This is the general electronic configuration of d block elements. The general electronic configuration of d block elements is n-1d 1 to 10, ns 1 to 2 electrons. Now here n-1 stands for penultimate shell. Penultimate shell. n-1d stands for penultimate shell d orbital. If you take n-1d, the meaning is penultimate shell d orbital. Here n-1 stands for penultimate shell. Already we know very well that what is a penultimate shell, what is ultimate shell, and what is anti-penultimate shell and core shells. Next ns. ns stands for outermost shell. Outermost shell is also called as outermost energy level or ultimate shell. So here is n-1 is the penultimate shell and ns is the outermost shell. Now let's look at the electron configuration of 3D series elements. So here there are different types of series of transistor elements. There are different types of series of transistor elements. So they are 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, 6D series. So let's see what are they. So already we know very well that the periodic table from third group to 12th group belongs to the d block elements. I'm taking directly third group and this is a 12th group. So third group to 12th group in the periodic table belongs to d block elements. In the third group, what are the elements we have is scandium, yttrium, lanthanum and actinium. So these are the elements present in the third group. And the element present in the 12th group is zinc, cadmium, mercury and copernicium. So these are the elements present in the 12th group. And the element from scandium to zinc. So scandium to zinc, the last electrons enter into 3D orbitals. But we are calling as 3D series. We have to call them as 3D series. Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. So now all these elements, the last electrons enter into 3D orbitals. So that we are calling as 3D series. So scandium to zinc, the last electrons enter into 3D orbitals. So we are calling as 3D series. From yttrium to cadmium. So on all these elements, last electrons enter into 4D orbitals. So we have to call them as 4D series. 4D series. And from lanthanum to mercury, last electrons enter into 5D orbitals. So that we have to call them as 5D series. So lanthanum to mercury are 5D series element. And actinium to copernicium, the last electrons enter into 6D orbital. So that we have to call them as 6D series. So 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, 6D series. So 3D series in the sense last electron into 3D orbital. So scandium to zinc belongs to 3D series and yttrium to cadmium belongs to 4D series because last electron into 4D orbital. Lanthanum to mercury belongs to 5D series because the last electron into 5D orbital. And actinium to copernicium belongs to 6D series. Now let us discuss the electron configurations of 3D series elements. 3D series. So there are several exceptions in the electronic configurations of d block elements. There are several exceptions in the electronic configurations of d block elements. This is because of very little energy difference between the n-1d and ns orbital. So there are several exceptions in the electronic configurations of d block elements. This is mainly because of very little energy difference between the n-1d orbital and ns orbital. So let us discuss electronic configurations of 3D series elements. So 3D series elements are the first element is scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. So these are the nickel, copper and this is zinc. So these are the 3D series elements. Now let us discuss the electronic configuration of all these elements. First one taking the scandium. So first we have taken noble gas, here is argon and scandium is the first element. The atomic number is 21, titanium is 22, vanadium is 23, 24, 25, 26, cobalt 27, alcohol nickel 28, nickel copper 29, zinc 30. So these are the atomic numbers of these elements. Scandium electron configuration: argon 3d1 4s2. This is electron configuration of scandium. Titanium, argon 3d2 4s2. Contribution 3d1, 3d2, 3d3. This 4s2 remains the same. Vanadium, electron configuration is argon 3d3 4s2. And chromium, electron configuration is actually we have to write 3d1, 3d2, 3d3, 3d4 we have to write. But electron configuration is 3d5 4s1. Instead of what we have to write is actually 3d4 4s2. Actually we have to write this is the electron configuration. Instead of 3d4 4s2 writing 3d5 4s1. This is because of half-filled electron configurations are more stable. Half-filled and completely filled electron configurations are more stable. Let's see what is half-filled and completely filled. Suppose I am taking this chromium. In the case of chromium, argon 3d5 4s1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose if you take 3d4 4s2. If you take 3d4 4s2, there is incompletely filled d atom. If one electron jumping from 4s energy level to the 3d atom, the configuration will become argon 3d5 4s0. 3d5 4s0. Then the configuration will become so 1. This is 4s1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. So we got a half-filled electronic configuration. Half-filled electronic configuration. Half-filled electronic configurations are more stable. So to attain the stability, one electron from the 4s orbital will be jumped to the 4s orbital jump to the 3d orbital because of there is a very little energy difference between the 3d and 4s orbital. Because of very little energy difference between the 3d and 4s orbital, this electron will be jumped to here. As we get d5 configuration. D5 configuration nothing but half-filled electron configuration is more stable. This is the exceptional case. So why the half-filled electron configuration and complete filled electron configuration more stable? There are two reasons. Reason number one is symmetrical distribution of electron. Each orbital occupies one electron. In the case of D10 configuration, each orbital occupies 2 electrons. So one is symmetrical distribution of electrons. One reason. The second reason is exchange energies. So because of these two reasons, half-filled electron configurations are more stable. Next, so we have made electron configuration of chromium is 3d5 4s1. Next, argon 3d5 4s2. Manganese 3d5 4s2. Next, iron argon 3d6 4s2. Next, cobalt argon 3d7 4s2. Nickel same configuration 3d8 4s2. And copper electron configuration, this is the iron, cobalt, nickel. Argon 3d10 4s2. So actually we have write 3d6, 3d7, 3d8. We have write 3d9 4s1. Actually we have write. But what we are writing is 3d10 4s1. 3d10 4s1 you are writing. This is the electron configuration of copper. This is also exceptional cases. This is because of completely filled electron configuration. Actually what we have to write is 3d10 4s2. So 3d9 4s2 we have to write. Instead of writing the 3d9 4s2 we are writing 3d10 4s1. So here also because of D10 configuration is more stable. If you take this configuration, copper, argon 3d9 4s2, what is the configuration going to expect here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got incompletely filled d orbital here, and this will be 4s is 2 electrons is there. So one electron from the 4s orbital will jump to the 3d orbital. Then the configuration will become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So we got D10 configuration. The configuration is 3d10. Here is one electron will jump here, we get 4s1. So 3d10 we got configuration is this is 3d10. This configuration is 4s1. So 3D10, that means D10 configuration is more stable. So because of the more stability of D10 configuration, so one electron is able from ferrous subtal to 3D atal. Already said, half filled or completely electron configurations are more stable because of two reasons. One is symmetrical distribution of electrons, and the second one is exchange energy. So here is electron configuration of copper and chromium is exception. Then zinc is same argon 3D 10 4s2. So this is the electronic configurations of some 3D series. So there is some exceptions. So these exceptions because of very little difference energy between the n-1d orbital and ns orbital. So these are the electron configuration of 3D series. Next, general properties of transition elements. There are different types of general properties of transition elements. Among them, the first one is physical properties. Physical properties. This is the first one. Nearly all transition elements display typical metallic properties, such as nearly all transition elements display typical metallic properties such as, the first one is ductility. The first one is ductility. Material stretched into wire. The material stretched into wire is nothing but a ductility. It's a metallic property. The second one is malleability. The second one is malleability. Malleability nothing but the metal is hammered into in the form of a thin sheet. The metal hammered into a thin sheet without breaking. Nothing but malleability. It is also the property of metals. And the next one is they have high thermal and electrical conductivity. They have high thermal and electrical conductivity. The next one has they have high tensile strength. High tensile strength. So strength is a metallic property. Next, they have metallic luster. They have metallic lusters. And another property is transition metals. Transition metals are very much hard. Transition metals are very much harder, and they have low volatility. They have low volatility. And next one is they have high melting points. They have high melting points. The high melting points of the transition elements is mainly because of involvement of greater number of electrons from n-1d in addition to the ns electrons in the interatomic metallic bond formation. What I am meaning is I am taking the electron formation n-1d 1 to 10 electrons and ns 1 to 2 electrons. So here the involvement of greater number of electrons from the n-1d orbital, the electrons from the n-1d and the electrons from the ns. So all these electrons are involved in the bond formation. So the high melting points of transition elements is due to the involvement of greater number of electrons from n-1d in addition to the ns orbital. In addition to the electrons from ns orbital. So as in the interatomic metallic bond formation, as a result they have high melting points. So they have high melting points due to involvement of greater number of electrons from n-1d from n minus 1d in addition to ns electrons. In addition to ns electrons in interatomic metallic bond formation. In interatomic metallic bond formation. So due to involvement of greater number of electrons from n minus 1d in addition to the ns electrons in the interatomic metallic bond formation, they have high melting points. So this is the reason why they have high melting points. Next one is they have high enthalpy of atomization, nothing but high boiling points. They have high enthalpy of atomization. They have high enthalpy of atomization. That means enthalpy of atomization nothing but high boiling points. They have high boiling points. So this is also the same as we can expect the involvement of more number of electrons in the bond formation. So interatomic interactions are very high. There is a high interatomic interactions. Because of high interatomic interactions, so they have high enthalpy of atomization, nothing but high boiling points. Now let's look at the enthalpy atomization of a different series of elements. So in each series, the enthalpy of atomization rises to maximum at the middle and then decreases. So let us take an example. I am taking enthalpy of atomization. So this is in kilojoule per mole enthalpy of atomization. It is increasing of atomic number Z. This is nothing but atomic number. Atomic number is nothing but Z. So increasing Z value and enthalpy of atomization. So here enthalpy of atomization increases and reaches maximum. So enthalpy of atomization reaches maximum. After reaching maximum, it decreases. This is I am taking is a 3D series. Next I am taking a 4D series. So this is a 4D series. This is a 4D series. 4D series. I am taking 5D series. This is a 5D series. 5D series, 3D series, 4D series, and this is a 5D series. If you look at the trends in the enthalpy of atomization of transition elements, the enthalpy of atomization 3D, 4D, and 5 series elements rises maximum to D5 configuration and falls regularly as atomic number is increases. So enthalpy of atomization 3D, 4D, and 5D element 5D series rises maximum at the middle, nothing but D5 configuration, and falls regularly as atomic number is increases. The maximum at the middle of each series indicates that presence of one unpaired electron for d orbital. So maximum at the middle indicates that the presence of one unpaired electron for d orbital, favorable for strong interatomic interactions. So they have high enthalpy of atomization, high boiling points. So this is the physical properties of transition elements. Next, second property, variation in atomic and ionic sizes of transition elements. Now we will discuss the variation in atomic and ionic sizes of transition elements in series and groups. So first we will discuss in series. So variation in atomic and ionic size of transition elements in series. That means while moving from left to right in each series, the atomic and ionic sizes are decreases. This is due to increasing of nuclear charge. This is in general atomic and ionic sizes. So atomic sizes and ionic sizes are decreases. simply radius decreases with increasing of nuclear charge. With increasing of nuclear charge is increases. This is in general. But this is not always true. It is in general. Atomic size or any radius decreases, nuclear charge is going to get increases. Now let's understand atomic variation of atomic and ionic sizes and transition elements in series by taking the 3D, 4D and 5D series elements. I'm taking 3D series elements. This is increasing of atomic number. This is radius in nanometers. Right, first I'm taking 3D series element. These are the imagined 3D series elements. So these are the 3D series element. If you look at this, scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium and so on. If you look at these elements, what the thing to understand is from scandium to of the middle of this series, the atomic sizes are decreases. So scandium to zinc, general atomic sizes are decreases. Here almost atomic sizes are constant, then the value is going to get rises. So what is the reason we will discuss? Next, this is a 3D series. I'm taking 4D series. This is 3D. Next, I'm taking 4D series. So this is a 4D series. Even 4D series also atomic sizes are gradually decreases then rises. Even in 5D series, similar. So if you look at this diagram, what the point of understand is atomic size in each series 3D, this is a 4D in the 5D. In each series, the atomic sizes are gradually decreases and becoming constant, and value is going to get increases. So at the end, the atomic sizes are increases. So what is the reason behind it? So scandium to zinc, then 4D series yttrium to cadmium, and 5D series we have lanthanum to mercury. So atomic size increases, atomic number is increases, atomic size is going to get decrease in general. So at the end, the value is going to get increases. What is the reason behind it? So let's understand by taking an example. I'm taking this is the nucleus of an atom. Can you see this second? And imagine first I'm taking understand purpose. I'm taking a 3D series. I'm taking 3D series here. So this is a 3D orbital. And outermost we have is one more orbital, that is 4s energy level. First I'm taking the scandium. Next we have is titanium. Next we have is vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc, isn't it? So these are the elements present in the series. So cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. Now scandium to titanium. Scandium is 21, titanium is 22. Atomic number is increases. Atomic number increasing nothing but one electron is added. So electron is added, this is automatically proton also we have to add. So nuclear charge from scandium to titanium, nuclear charge increases. Titanium to vanadium, this is 23. And atomic number is 22 to 23 in the sense one more electron is added. Electron is added in the sense proton also is going to get added. Here also scandium to titanium, one unit positive charge increases, and titanium to vanadium, one unit charge, nuclear charge is going to get increases. Vanadium to chromium, all the cases the nuclear charge is going to increase by 1 unit. So from scandium to zinc, from one element to next element, nuclear charge increases by 1 unit. Very important point. Nuclear charge increases by 1 unit. Nuclear charge is increased by 1 unit. So here is this is nothing but Z effective nuclear charge. Z effective nuclear charge available in Z effective nuclear charge is going to get increases. So from left to right, effective nuclear charge is increases. This point is very clear. While moving from left to right, protons are added, electrons are added. As a result, protons also is added. Effective nuclear charge is going to get increases. Then the nuclear charge is going to get increases. Next, in each time there are the 2 electrons in the 4s circle. Imagine. So outermost angle level there is a 2 electrons is common, exception copper and chromium. So there are 2 electrons is there. Next scandium, 1 electron is added in the d orbital. In the case of titanium, 1 more electron is added, and vanadium, 1 more electron is added, and chromium electron is added, and manganese is electron is added. So here is these electrons are added in the 3d orbital. Already electrons present in the 4s orbital. So this effective nuclear charge, this nuclear charge attracting the electrons present in the outermost energy level towards its nucleus. So this nucleus attracting the electrons towards this nucleus attracting the electron towards its nucleus, this towards this direction. As a result, size is going to get decreases. You might get one doubt. The electrons present in the inner shells will repel these electrons, but here is the shielding effect of d orbital is not effective. So due to not shielding effect of d orbital is not effective, the size gradually is going to get decreases. Here is a jet effective nuclear charge is greater than the repulsion of electrons present in the inner shells. First case. As a result, from where to where can take 3D, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. Up to all these elements, atomic radius is going to get decreases. Up to these elements, atomic radius is going to get decreases. So what is my point is nuclear charge is increasing. Nuclear charge increasing. As a result, electrons also adding. These electrons are repelling the outermost electrons. So this nucleus is pulling electrons towards inside. These electrons are repelling outside. So but his nuclear charge is greater than the repulsions of this d orbital. As a result, the size is going to get decreases up to manganese. Up to manganese you can take. Then iron, cobalt, or nickel. These three elements, nuclear charge increases. Up to this element, nuclear charge increases. In addition to that, repulsion of number of electrons added also is going to get increases. And there is a balance between the repulsion of these electrons of outermost electrons. This nucleus pulling outermost electron towards inside. Right? The electrons present in the inner shells, 3d electrons repelling these electrons. This is electron, this is electron. Here is electrons is present in the d orbital. These electrons are repelling these electrons, but nucleus is pulling inside. So nucleus is attracting, these electrons are repelling. This is nothing but shielding effect. Shielding is nothing but the nucleus attracting the outermost electron towards its nucleus, but electrons present in the inner shells are repelling them out. So opposite working. Here is the electrons are repelled by the inner shells, nucleus is attracting. This we are calling as a shielding effect. Here the shielding effect, repulsions and nuclear charge is balanced. Attractive force of nuclear charge and repulsion of electrons is balanced, so that the size is almost constant. The size is almost constant. In the case of iron, cobalt and nickel. Iron, cobalt and nickel. So iron, cobalt and nickel. All these cases the size is almost constant. Then here onwards the size is increases. So again number of electrons is going to get added more. 2 electrons are increases. Here repulsion is greater than the repulsion is more than the nuclear charge. Repulsion is more than the nuclear charge. As a result, the size is going to get increases. Especially in the case of zinc. Zinc size is increases. At the end, size is more because of repulsion is greater than the attraction. So I discussed here 3 cases. The first case is from scandium to manganese. The scandium to manganese, nuclear charge is increasing. It's clear. Nuclear charge increasing. Inner shells electrons also is not effective. The repulsion of d electrons is not effective. As a result, size is decreases from scandium to manganese. Next, iron, cobalt, nickel. Iron, cobalt, nickel cases, nuclear charge increases and repulsion electrons also is added to the 3d orbital. Electrons also added. So here is repulsion of electrons and nuclear charge is balanced. So due to balancing nuclear charge and the repulsion of electrons present in the 3d orbital, the size is almost constant. The last case, number of electrons is more. So more number of electrons is added to the DD orbital. Here is in the case of zinc we have D10 configuration. So D10 configuration, in the carbons we have D10 configuration. More number of electrons is there. So repulsion is more than the attraction. Nucleus is attracting, but repulsion is more. So due to more repulsion, so these electrons are going far away from them. As a result, the size is going to get increases. So 3 cases. So up to manganese size is decreases, and iron, cobalt, nickel size almost constant, and copper and zinc size is going to get increases. But in general, this is just general statement. In general, atomic and ionic sizes are decreases because of increasing of nuclear charge. This is the general statement. But the actual condition is scandium. I'm taking 3D series. Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. Up to these elements, the atomic size is going to get decreases because of increasing of nuclear charge is going to get increases. But iron, cobalt. So next element is iron, cobalt, nickel. Iron, cobalt, nickel. Almost the size is constant. And next one is copper and zinc. The radius is going to get increases because of increasing of nuclear charge, increasing of repulsion. It is Z effective. Z effective is balanced, and repulsion of electrons balanced. Repulsion of electrons is balanced. Here Z effective nuclear charge is greater than the repulsion of electrons. So the size is decreases. Here is balanced. Here is the size is increases because of repulsion increases. Repulsion of electrons increases. Repulsion of electrons is increases. This is the first case. In series, each series you can take similar factor. Next one is in groups. In groups, in general, while moving from top to bottom, the atomic sizes are increases. In periodic table, while moving from top to bottom, atomic sizes are increases because of increasing of number of shells. Already we know very well. But in the case of 3D to 4D, atomic sizes are increases. It's not an issue. 3D to 4D, the size is going to get 3D to 4D size increases. 3D to 4D size is increases. That's not an issue because the number of cells is increases. But 4D to 5D, 3D series to 4D series, 4D series to 5D series, the size, atomic size is similar. So here is a 4D and a 5D series. Sizes are similar. So what is the reason behind it? The simplest reason for similar size is because of lanthanoid contraction. Because of lanthanoid contraction, the size from 4D to 5D is similar, almost same, but everything is similar. They have similar sizes because of lanthanoid contraction. Here, the lanthanoid contraction because of poor shielding effect of 4f orbital. I will take one example. I am taking this is the nucleus of an atom. This is a 4f orbital. Next, here we have is the last electrons 6s. Electrons present in the 6s. So here is 2 electrons is there. Imagine here is the 2 electrons is present. Next, here is the 4f electrons. Electrons keep adding to this 4f factor in the shells. Here, the 4f orbital has a poor shielding effect. That means what is electrons present in out motion level? This is attracted strongly towards the nucleus. Electrons present in the outer motion level attracted strongly towards the nucleus. But electrons present in the 4f orbital do not repel them. So do not repel them. The poor shielding effect. So because of the not repelled by the 4f electrons, the electrons are coming close to the nucleus. As a result, the size is going to get decreases. Size is decreases. This effect is nothing but lanthanoid contraction because this is in the lanthanoid series. So here is 3D, 4D, 5D. So 3D elements what we have is scandium. So 5D elements we have is scandium, yttrium, and we have is lanthanum. So in the lanthanoids, here onwards atomic size keep decreases because of this is calling as lanthanoid contraction. Here is poor shielding effect of 4f orbital. Lanthanoid contraction because of poor shielding effect of push yielding effect of 4f orbitals. Electrons of orbital. Shielding effect of 4f electrons simply. Electrons present in the 4f orbitals. So due to pure shielding effect of 4f electrons, the 4d and 5d series atoms have similar sizes. Example, you can take zirconium and hafnium. So we have first one, I am taking scandium, yttrium, lanthanum and actinium. Next scandium after we have is titanium, vanadium. Scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium, titanium, zirconium and we have is hafnium. So if you take it, yttrium, so zirconium and hafnium has a similar sizes. Atomic size of zirconium is 160 picometers and hafnium is 159 picometers. 159 picometers. Actually, while moving from top to bottom, atomic sizes must be decreases, but here is 160, 159. The atomic size is almost constant. Atomic size is almost constant because of lanthanoid contraction. Lanthanoid contraction because of co-shielding effect of F orbital. So F orbital is not repelling these outermost electrons. So the nuclear charge increasing, because of increased nuclear charge attracting electron towards inside. As a result, sizes is going to get decreases. So this is nothing but we are calling as a lanthanoid contraction. Lanthanoid contraction because of co-shielding effect. In general, so while moving from left to right, next series atomic sizes are decreases because of increasing of nuclear charge. But at the end, the size is rises because of more repulsion, more number of electrons repelling them. So repulsion is more than the effective nuclear charge. In general, while moving from top to bottom, atomic sizes are increases. So 3d to 4d atomic size increases. And 4d to 5d atomic sizes are similar, almost similar or same. This is because of lanthanoid contraction. Lanthanoid contraction because of co-shielding effect of 4f electrons. This is atomic sizes.